Hello and welcome. Today we're going to discuss grain ounce equivalents and the recipe analysis workbook for the Child and Adult Care Food Program. Here's the professional development you'll receive for this training. Grains are an important part of meals in the Child and Adult Care Food Program. To make sure children get enough grains at CACFP meals and snacks, required amounts for grain components are listed in the meal pattern as ounce equivalent. Ounce equivalents tell you the amount of grains in a portion of food. So if we know ounce equivalents tell you the amount of grain in a portion of food, let's start by looking at 1 ounce. This variety of crackers are good examples to use to help understand what 1 ounce equivalent is. 20 1-inch by 1-inch cheese crackers equal 1 grain ounce equivalent. 12 1 1/4 inch by 1 1/4 inch thin wheat crackers equal 1 grain ounce equivalent, and 5 1 1/2 inch by 1 1/2 inch woven whole wheat crackers equal 1 grain ounce equivalent as well. To find out how much of a grain item you need to serve to meet the CACFP meal pattern requirements, you can use the grains measuring chart. This is the grains measuring chart. It has a column of grain items and sizes, as well as columns for age groups and meals. Step 1 is easy. Find the grain you want to serve under the grain item and size column. For step 2, check if the chart lists the size or weight by the name of the grain. If it lists the weight as it does for pita bread, then you would use the nutrition facts label for the item you want to serve and make sure it weighs the same or more than the grain on the chart. We'll talk about the nutrition facts label in a bit. What if the item doesn't list the weight as shown here for pasta? If that's the case, then you do not need to check the size or the weight of the product before using the chart. If the chart lists the size of the grain as it does here for the pretzel, then you would check to see if the item is the same size or larger than what is shown. You can use the grains measuring tool, which we'll show you later. Once you have your size or weight information, you're ready for step 3. Find the column for the age of your participants and the meal or snack you're serving, and then the amount of a grain you will need to serve to meet the meal pattern requirement. So as you can see, once you get the hang of using the grains measurement chart, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. If you remember in step 2 of using the grains measuring chart, we mentioned the nutrition facts label. Let's look at how we use it. Some items listed on the grains measuring chart may have the weights listed by the name of the item. For example, pancake. Again, we have steps to follow that will help in using the nutrition facts label. First, find the grain item and its minimum weight in the grains measuring chart. Step 2. Look at the nutrition facts label of the grain you wish to serve. We'll name ours brand B pancakes. Find the weight of the serving size, usually provided as grams. We see that 1 serving of brand B pancakes weigh 117 grams. Step 3 requires you to use the nutrition facts label to find out how many items are in 1 serving. There are 3 pancakes in 1 serving of our brand B pancakes. Now, if there is more than 1 of an item in a serving, you will need to divide to find the weight of each item. For example, the serving size of brand B pancakes is 3 pancakes. Divide the serving weight by the number of items in 1 serving to find the weight of each item. And now the moment of truth. Compare the weight of 1 item to the minimum weight listed in the grains measuring chart. Is your item the same weight as or heavier than the minimum weight? Because brand B pancakes weighs 39 grams, you may use the chart as a guide to the minimum serving amount. As for brand A, because they didn't meet the minimum serving amount required, you can use another method to determine how much of a grain item to serve. If your grain is smaller than the item listed, lighter in weight than the item listed, or not listed on the grains measuring chart, You can enter information from the nutrition facts label into the food buying guide for child nutrition programs, Exhibit A Grains tool. This tool will let you know how many ounce equivalents of grains are in one serving of the item. Or use the food buying guide recipe analysis workbook to determine the ounce equivalents per serving for standardized recipes. If you're not already familiar with it, let me introduce you to the food buying guide. What if the grain you want to serve is smaller? It's not listed on the chart, or it's lighter in weight. In order to meet the CACFP meal pattern requirements, you could use these tools: the Exhibit A Grains tool or the Recipe Analysis Workbook. Are you ready? We're going to show you how to use the Exhibit A Grains tool.
To access the Exhibit A Grains tool, navigate to foodbuyingguide.fns.usda.gov and create a free e-authentication account. Once logged in, you'll see this food buying guide screen. From here, click on Exhibit A Grains tool. Click on Enter Exhibit A Product. Enter the name of your product. In this case, we're looking at New York Bakery breadsticks. Then choose the method you would like the tool to output. In our example, we want to see the ounce equivalent grains. Next, add an item keyword to search for. In this case, we'll type bread. Then click Search. Once the food item has been located, click the corresponding Add button to populate that food item into the Exhibit A product. The item you selected will appear below the search. To calculate the ounce equivalent grains for your grain product, enter the serving size and select a measurement unit based on the product label. The grains contribution will automatically calculate, and it will also be listed in the crediting statement below the table. You can change the serving size and measurement unit at any time, and the grains contribution will recalculate accordingly. Next, we can determine the amount of the grain product to serve in order to provide a specific ounce equivalent grain by clicking on the Amount to Serve tab. To determine the amount to serve, enter the desired grains contribution. This should be a positive number, such as 1.4, and the measurement unit will automatically populate based on the method you've chosen. Since we chose ounce equivalent grains, that's what you'll see. Next, enter the serving size and the weight as provided on your product label. Again, the amount to serve is automatically calculated and will also be listed in the statement below the table. To then calculate the amount of a grain product to serve in order to meet minimum grains requirements as appropriate for the specific age group or grade group that you're serving, click on the tab Amount to Serve by age group or grade group. Start by adding the serving size and weight as provided on your product label. Then select the program meal combination from the drop-down menu. You will then see an amount to serve table populate based on the program you've chosen, listing the amount to serve by age group in order to meet minimum grains requirements. You can change the method selection, serving size values, and the program meal combination at any time, and the amount to serve will be recalculated accordingly. To save this information for future reference, make sure to click the Save button. Then you can click Back to List to be taken to your My Product screen, where all of your saved items will be listed. From the My Products page, any of your saved products can be edited, deleted, emailed, or saved as a PDF or text file.
And now we'll walk you through the Recipe Analysis Workbook.
The Recipe Analysis Workbook, or RAW, is a tool to help determine your recipe's expected meal pattern contributions. From the Food Buying Guide homepage, click on Recipe Analysis Workbook. Then click Create Recipe Analysis Workbook. To start, enter the recipe name, servings per recipe, and serving size. You'll notice underneath this information there are tabs for each meal component. Grains have 3 tabs. Note that there are 3 methods to calculate meal pattern contribution for grains. Method A is the Exhibit A Grains tool. On this tab, you'll search and select ingredients from Exhibit A. Method B is based on the Food Buying Guide. This tab will automatically populate if food ingredients are selected from the search section. Method C is based on grams of creditable grains. In this tab, you'll manually enter grain ingredients. Method A works the same way as the Exhibit A Grains tool we just discussed. Type in a food item by entering one or more keywords and click Search. Once you locate the food item you're looking for, click Add to populate that food item into the Recipe Analysis Workbook. The product description will be pre-populated from the Exhibit A tool. You will then need to edit the other fields: quantity of product, weight of 1 unit, and measurement unit. The quantity of product in ounces and the weight of 1 ounce equivalent as listed in Exhibit A will auto-populate. The meal pattern contribution value will calculate automatically as all appropriate fields are filled in. Let's talk about Method C next. Method C is based on grain food items entered manually. Click Add New Ingredient. Enter the description of the creditable grain ingredient, quantity of the ingredient, and then select the measurement unit. The meal pattern contribution value will calculate automatically. Method B utilizes the Food Buying Guide. This is the same method you will use for the other food components in your recipe. Under the Select Creditable Ingredient tab, you will search and select only the recipe food ingredients that contribute to the meal pattern. Enter one or more keywords, and you have the option of selecting a meal component and/or category. Search results are displayed in a table below. Once the food item has been located, click the corresponding Add button to populate that food item into the Recipe Analysis Workbook. It's important to select the correct form of the ingredient, fresh, frozen, etc. If an exact match is not available, choose a food item that closely matches your recipe ingredient. Once a food item has been added, you can see it populate under the Food Ingredients Selected for Recipe section. Ingredients can also be viewed on the corresponding tabs of the workbook. Some of the food item information will be pre-populated from the Food Buying Guide, such as the purchase unit, and some information will be editable. You can feel free to edit certain fields as necessary. The calculated quantity to purchase will automatically calculate based on your entries. Once you've entered all of your recipe ingredients, head to the Meal Pattern Contribution tab, where the workbook will have generated a meal pattern contribution statement for the product based on the information entered. Click the Save button to keep your recipe for future reference. Click Back to Raw List to view all of your saved recipes. Much like the Exhibit A Grains tool, any of your saved recipes can be edited, copied, deleted, emailed, or saved as a PDF or text file. For more information on the Exhibit A Grains tool and the Recipe Analysis Workbook, click on the Help tab in the top menu bar. Click on User Guide and a PDF of the document will open. The User Guide provides additional guidance on how to use the tools and the rest of the Food Buying Guide.
Remember earlier we mentioned that if the measuring chart lists the size of the grain, then you would check if the item is the same size or larger than what is shown. You can use the grains measuring tools to do this. You can find the tools in the USDA worksheet titled Using Ounce Equivalents for Grains in the CACFP. The guides appear as actual size when the worksheet is printed at 100% on standard 8.5 by 11-inch paper. The USDA Grain Ounce Equivalent Worksheet is a very useful tool. You can access it at teamnutrition.usda.gov.